Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here today, Chair Brownstein, members of the committee. As you know, the New York State Association of Towns represents 910 towns of the 933 in the state of New York. We train, educate, and advocate for town officials, and we represent a wide range of diverse towns. We've talked a little bit about the rural areas. We have many rural towns, and I hope we can dive into some of the issues relating to those. Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to testify on how ConnectALL initiative is working for municipalities. Reliable, affordable, high-speed broadband internet is now an essential infrastructure. For towns, it supports economic development, public safety, education, healthcare, access, housing stability, and basic government services. In many rural and lower density communities, private broadband investment has not met local needs. ConnectALL represents an important shift by recognizing municipalities as active partners in planning and infrastructure and not just passive recipients of service. From a high level, ConnectALL offers multiple funding programs that allow municipalities to engage at different stages, from early planning and capacity building to full infrastructure deployment. The flexibility that matters here because municipalities start from very different places in terms of staff, capacity, data, and readiness. As I mentioned, a very diverse state with size of towns, location, and areas. Collectively, the program creates a framework that allows local governments to address broadband gaps in a way that reflects local conditions. What happens in the Adirondacks is very different than what happens on Long Island and what happens in Western New York and everywhere else in between. In relation to the Municipal Infrastructure Program, MIP, I want to focus there for a moment on this public infrastructure. MIP allows municipalities and public entities to build and control broadband infrastructure, typically through open access models. Under these models, the municipality owns the infrastructure while private providers deliver retail services. I think this is a very important distinction and might lend some color to some of the earlier comments that were made. Towns are not becoming internet service providers. This approach is consistent with how municipalities already manage long-lived infrastructure, such as roads, water systems, utilities under strict fiscal, legal, and public accountability constraints. In short, towns are built for managing infrastructure. MIP is most often pursued only after private investment has failed to materialize. And unfortunately, that's been in too many cases for so many towns. It allows communities to invest in durable, accountable infrastructure rather than short-term subsidies. We are encouraged to see towns like Nichols, Dryden, Caroline receive awards, which demonstrates the program's potential when municipalities are able to participate fully. In relation to broadband and public infrastructure, particularly fiber networks, this requires significant upfront costs. For many municipalities, these costs are simply not feasible under fiscal constraints such as the property tax cap. ConnectALL helps bridge that gap by leveraging state and federal funds so towns can pursue projects that would otherwise be impossible. These investments are planned deliberately, aligned with long-term capital planning, and focused on public benefit and public accountability. At the same time, we consistently hear from our members that the application process for ConnectALL is highly technical and resource intensive. For many towns, the complexity itself is a deterrent, especially where outside consultants are required to bridge the budgets, are required and local budgets are limited. This is not an argument to be misconstrued that broadband infrastructure is beyond municipal capability. But to illustrate this, ErieNet, which was talked about earlier, in LDC, created specifically to manage a large open access fiber network across Erie County, went through different application rounds before ultimately finally receiving a MIP award. In an organization with that level of expertise, facing the hurdles that it did, it's not surprising that many municipalities decide not to apply even when broadband need is significant. In relation to the regional and local assistance program, this is a critical part of ConnectALL framework because it recognizes that planning capacity is often the real barrier for municipalities. RELAP supports feasibility studies, mapping, engineering analysis, and regional coordination, particularly for towns without in-house broadband or engineering expertise. This reflects the municipality's reality. Local governments plan first, build second. No town has received round one awards, which points to capacity and access challenges rather than lack of need or interest. Ensuring towns can meaningfully access planning support is essential to the success of this overall initiative. NYAOT has 5 recommendations. Number 1, expand early, no-cost technical assistance so municipalities can navigate applications without relying on expensive consultants. This is a common theme for towns, not just in broadband, but certainly here it would be helpful. Number 2, strengthen the planning to deployment pipeline so early planning investments clearly position towns for later infrastructure funding. Number 3, ensure towns can realistically access planning and capacity building funds, either directly or through supported partnerships. Number 4, continue emphasizing open access and public controlled models that preserve competition and public accountability. And number 5, establish a formal mechanism within the MIP to foster public-private partnerships, including model agreements and guidance that leverage private sector expertise while maintaining public infrastructure control. Again, I'd like to close just by thanking you for allowing me to be here and to emphasizing how today we see broadband deployment as critical infrastructure, no longer just for private sector.